We are a PlayStation first gaming podcast talking everything about PlayStation this week. I'm joined, as always, bringing in that platinum trophy. It's Dorgon. What's going on?
Morning, all. Morning, Ruth. Thank you very much for having me, as always. Thank you for running the show. Thank you, beautiful people out there, for tuning in. It's Wednesday. We're talking PlayStation. That's about as far as I know.
We got a lot to talk today about PlayStation, and oh my gosh, my hair is going crazy again today, but that's all right.
This is why I've got the hat on.
Yeah, you got the hat.
My hair was
Oh my.
tall. It was really tall this morning, so I was like, hat's going on today.
Well said, well said. That'll be a tip for next time. Also, if you're looking for let me turn down that showcase. If you're looking for a awesome hat like Doragon's, be sure to check out his channel where that merch is included. Next episode, I'm going to be rocking the Doragon shirt. It's been cold these days, so I put away the t-shirts, but
Yeah,
gotta
you need
break
one
it
of
out.
these. You need one of the hoodies. Like, look
Yeah,
how thick and juicy that is, and it's beautiful.
good for the winter.
Very good for the
Well,
winter.
as we like to get started, what have you been gaming on this week?
I have been sort of cycling between two. I'm on that platinum grind in Beat Saber. I'm edging closer, so I've got the double S trophy on expert rank, which took a lot of concentration, a lot of work. If you are in the Cyborg City Discord server, there is a video in there of me actually achieving it, and you could see how much it meant to me. I've also done about 3 or 4 levels with full combos. I need to do 15 total, and all of this is just adding up towards my 24 hours playtime. So I'm really enjoying that. It's a grind and a half, and it's a physical grind. So there's only so long you can spend in there before your arms feel like they're going to fall off or something. Outside of that, I've been playing Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It was a new game launched last week. It's a 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania, more in the vein of the very original Prince of Persia games, way back on like MS-DOS and Apple One and all those sort of systems. I sort of feel it's very fluid, very quick. I am truly enjoying that game. So yeah, liking Prince of Persia a lot at the moment, and that's my cycle thus far. I know you've been all over the show as always. You're a multifaceted gamer, but what have you been doing in the PlayStation world this last week?
Yes, I gamed too much. I did also break into Prince of Persia as well. That game has brought a lot of it has great gameplay. There's no denying that. I love the parry system. There's Souls aspects with the Metrovania. It brings me back to Grime, which is another game I enjoyed very much in that
Yes,
same
yeah.
vein of design. However, this is just me, but the art style, I just wish it was less cartoony and more realistic, more gritty and raw. Remember when the dark shadow of time would chase you through the
The
halls and it would be
darker,
ever,
yeah.
yeah. I want
Getting chased with
something,
Godsmack blaring in the
yeah.
background. Like, that game got me into Godsmack, and I am lucky enough to say I've then seen them twice. And it was off the back of that
Oh,
game and
wow.
the Scorpion King movie coming out at the same time that I got into that particular band, that heavy, chugging new metal feel. Like, really, really good. And it was incredibly atmospheric. And I understand what you're saying. I truly do. But at
Yes.
the same time, I've gone 14 years without a Prince of Persia, and I'll take this quite happily.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And there it's undeniably great game. The reviews have been stellar for it. I enjoyed playing through it. And the systems inside it are great. I love games that don't incredibly punish you because there's an
Yeah,
upgrade mechanic and a currency in the game, and if you get hit and die, you won't lose it all like a Souls game. You'll lose a portion, but it's very small, and that kind of thing brings you back to trying again and again, and it doesn't bring that death at such a high value and cost. But other than that, I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima, and yes, I unlocked the fifth stance, and yes, it was
yes.
epic. you're just standing there and you're like, "Ah, da, 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 da," and you cut off a guy's head. And it's just like a massive everybody's in shock, in fear on you on the steps, and you just become an absolute like
Run
embodiment
from
of
the
Ghost of
ghost.
Tsushima. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was a great moment in the game. Absolutely thrilling, uh great aspects, and now it rewards you for a different type of gameplay, because now
Yes.
flawless comes at such a great reward of just, mowing down three people and fearing everybody else in its wake. So great mechanics, great story. Making my way through. I don't even think I'm on like the main quest. I just keep going off. Anytime I see a question mark, I just follow the wind this direction, that direction. So
Or a
I'll
yellow
eventually
birdie
find my way
comes
to
and
the
tries to
end.
drag you off somewhere. Yeah, I know it
Yeah.
well. I know that feeling well. It's a game that I
Nerds
have
World.
100%ed, and I
Oh,
100%ed
GG's.
it on my first playthrough. So I understand that feeling.
Wow. Yeah. It's just a game that you can go off in any direction and find that adventure. I was worried that all those platforming areas were going to feel the same, but they're not. Each one is
No,
incredibly unique. One even had a secret cache that I managed to find because I was rewarded for exploration. So it's great design in that title, I will say. And what's going on, Nerds World? Simply Pwned Gaming joining us. Sanchez MTZ bringing the Call of Duty weapons. Yeah, I know it now. Vet Cloud Gaming, as well as David Wilson. Everybody, don't forget, we got a little contest ongoing. Feel free to put in exclamation mark PlayStation in the chat, and then one winner will be chosen. Listen, I want to get somebody else into Helldivers 2 with me, and I'm taking you dragging with me, all right? Helldivers 2 is looking to be epic, and we are going to get into that later today, because there was a reveal yesterday that will blow your mind if you're excited for Helldivers 2 like I am. The scope of the game has just been dropped, and it is beyond epic. Let's take a look into our news cycle for the week, though. What's been going on with someone in the chat we know all too well with rebranding? What's happening here? Shout out to Vet Cloud Gaming in the chat.
Shout out to Vet Eye. Yeah, he's gone through a few denominations in recent times, hasn't he? Trying to find his niche, his footing. But it looks like a studio that has made some incredible games. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the studio that made both A Plague Tale: Innocence and A Plague Tale: Requiem. That they are incredibly well known for, that are incredibly well received games. They're always up in conversations of some of the best ever made. They've got a new, very interesting RPG coming up, which is the picture at the top of the article, which I've got a lot of interest in. It's not a dead cert for me just yet, but I'm very interested about it, especially from a
Ooh.
narrative angle and the way that things play out if you do things differently. And they've just gone and changed name. But they're changing
Yeah.
everything about them, taking all of the history that they've had and saying, nah, we want a fresh start. We want to be called something different. And I mean, power to them if that's what they want to do. But from a marketing and publishing perspective, it feels a little bit weird to just randomly out of nowhere change your company's name. But we've seen it before. Facebook used to be called Facebook, they're now called Meta.
Meta.
We've
Yep.
got multiple different products and services here in the UK that used to be called one thing and now called another thing, and people still get them backwards and mixed up. There's another social platform run by a horrible human being that used to be called something after a bird and is now just a letter. Like, rebrands happen all the time, so it might be good for them, it might not be good for them. We'll have to wait and see. It's just, for me, with the history, with the quality they've churned out, especially with those Plague Tale games, and how well they are regarded, it's a weird move.
Hey, what I'm seeing here, are they calling themselves Pull Up Entertainment? Because if they are, maybe it was just, a New Year's resolution.
Yeah, New Year's fitness thing. That could be
Yeah.
it. Yeah, everybody's got to do like 3 pull-ups before they come through the door.
Hey, there's many reasons people rebrand. Maybe it's just to get a fresh new feel in the company. Perhaps it's for accounting business numbers. But if you're looking to follow Focus Entertainment, they will now become Pull Up Entertainment. So that is a bit of news we'll be seeing. I think maybe my suspicion, if I were to say something, is perhaps this association with Atomic Heart may have been negative,
Mm,
but
that is
that
the
would just be
only
speculation.
yeah, that's the only sort of blemish on the record, isn't it? It was a bit of a like consternation thing and what have you at the time. There were a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's funded by Russian media and mafia and all this sort of." I have no idea if any of that is true, but it wasn't a great game. And with the rest of their stable, I can see why they maybe want to try and distance themselves from that, considering that was the second last release as well. But
Right.
again, like one bad thing in your stable, it's not the be all and end all. Like, you've got a lot of good in that stable.
Yeah.
Their choice. We'll see how it plays out. I'm confused by it. What can I say?
We're just letting you know. Well, moving on to something a bit more less confusing and makes more sense to people here. It's an app, guys. We're getting an app in the near future. That's what it looks like. The speculation is there. You're going to be able to turn on your TV, hit up the PlayStation app, simple, just like you have on your PC device as is. You can just load it up and you have a cloud selection of games, a library there. We see now exclusively on the PS5 that they have cloud access for the PS5 games. So the technology is there. It hasn't translated yet in the real world terms to PS5 games on TVs, or PS games on TVs. But this is what this announcement's looking like. This is what it's shaping out to be, and could we see this as a future Dorgon?
100%. The current CEO, the interim one who's stepping in after Jim Ryan before they appoint someone new, Hiroki Totoki, isn't it? As you quite like
Love
saying
that
his
name.
name. So Hiroki Totoki, it's a bit of a soundbite from him saying
Totoki!
basically the future of PlayStation isn't just on the PlayStation box. It's in the cloud, it's on PC, and it's on mobile as well. How they go about doing this, that they haven't gone into any more depth with. Are we going to see native PlayStation mobile games once more? Because we've had Uncharted, Treasure Fortune, and stuff like that in the past. We've had different sort of like temple run games way back when. We even had a full PlayStation phone at one point. You could buy the Xperia Play, it slid open and it gave you a D-pad, the square, X, circle, and triangle face buttons, and two capacitive analog sticks. So could we see the return of the PlayStation phone? Will we get cloud gaming on mobile, on PC, on Blu-ray players and TVs again? Because that's where PlayStation Now started. It was across all these different devices, and then they sort of rolled it back a little bit. It all sounds very positive. It's all positive speak and great sound bites, but we've heard some of these sort of things before. We heard it before the launch of the PlayStation Portal, where they said that the difference between remote play and cloud gaming is the location of the server. Basically saying, oh, yeah, cloud gaming will be coming to the portal in not so many words. And nothing has materialized since. And we're a good 3 months down the line, sort of thing. So I'm not expecting anything to happen quickly. I do believe that they are seeing this as their future. And I think the biggest change we will see in the next 12 months following this soundbite is that PC versions of PlayStation games will launch much closer to the original release. We won't have to wait sort of 2 years for Ragnarok type games to appear on PC. It might be 6 months, it might be less. They're looking to try and get to a point of day and date releases. And I think that's positive for everybody because your PlayStation crowd aren't going anywhere. Your PC crowd aren't going to go out and buy a PlayStation for these games. I think it's a good move for everyone involved. And if they can spread that further, bring it on. Great for gamers everywhere.
Absolutely. Purple says, and it's a great point to make here, if you see the Sony app on the Sony TVs, really makes you think this could be what Stadia was going to be. Super excited and check every day on my TV for a game to drop. And we're at the 1 year anniversary of Stadia, and I just wanted to give a little head nod because it brought Dorgon and I together. So cheers to that
Birth this
fact.
podcast. Well done for dying, Stadia. Hold on, wait.
And, but yes, I move on because I wanted to bring that point up because it's an excellent transition here for the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth now has its own official Sony TV. So is this, if they were going to make a drop, I mean, drop Final Fantasy VII remake and rebirth on this well, it's not an okay, so I read through the article, I read through the press release for everybody here, and it's not like official TV. They're just saying that the Sony Bravia XR is the best TV to play this game on. So kind of an odd press release, but is this sort of what we're working towards together to get, you know, Sony games on TVs directly? Is that reading between the lines, or are they just saying hook up your PlayStation to this TV? What do you
I
think
think it's
here?
more the latter. I think it's more the
Yeah.
latter on this one.
Yeah.
The Sony
Hopeful,
Bravia
wishful
XR
thinking.
is the top of the line television. I have the version from 2018. They're £3,000 to £4,000 new. They're very expensive televisions, and they are incredible. Mine is starting to show its age a little bit now in terms of its smart functionality, but in terms of its picture quality and putting a PlayStation through it, it doesn't show any age at all. It's a 4K panel. It's a 60 hertz screen. Okay, it's not HDMI 2.1, which is a little disappointing for me. And these new XRs will be HDMI 2.1, so you can get 4K 120 in games that do support it and so on. But they're fantastic bits of kit. And generally, with any of these high-end televisions, you're not going to go wrong. You're not going to have a bad experience plugging any form of console into them. They've got built-in software upscaling, they've got hardware upscaling, they've got many different smart features that can be turned on and off to improve your picture, gaming, latency, all of this sort of amazing stuff that helps the gamer. But the XRs, the beauty of them is they're made by the same company that make the most prolific AAA console that will plug into them, which is the PlayStation. You plug one of those PlayStations into that TV, it instantly knows which PlayStation it is, and it will do all of the fine tuning and tweaking for you. What's happened with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is it's been made with these televisions in mind. So the way to get the best image quality, best frame rates, best everything you possibly can out of that game is to buy one of these brand new XRs, plug a PlayStation 5 into it with a HDMI 2.1 cable, and it will look better than it will look until it gets a PC release, if it gets a PC release.
And look, it's on sale. You can save $1,000 right now for a Sony Bravia XR 65-inch 4K UHD HDR OLED. Oh my God, this isn't a bad deal.
They're
This,
fantastic bits of kit. Yeah, they're amazing.
I
Mine's the
mean,
55-inch because I live in the UK and we have much smaller houses. But yeah, for you guys over there,
excellent. Expensive on the monitor side, but if you're looking for those extra crisp quality in visuals, Sony Bravia has got an excellent choice for Final Fantasy. So much so they thought to put out a press release. So, isn't that isn't that something? It's
hey,
an
it's
odd
it's more
move.
it's more communication than we've had for about 12 months. I'll take it.
Well, have you been up to catching some Pokemon in the survival hit that has crazed the entire world? 6 million concurrent or 6 million copies sold. What is it? 2 million concurrent players. The numbers are
Yeah, so
staggering.
it broke new records just before we came on air. So the information we've got on screen is wrong. Palworld has
Uh-oh.
had 2 million concurrent players. So I think it's broken into second, maybe, on the all-time concurrent players list, which is incredible for something that isn't like a competitive MOBA or shooter or anything like that. And it sold over 7 million copies in 5 days, which is just absolutely incredible. I have not been playing Palworld because Palworld isn't on PlayStation. and it isn't on Android. And they are the two platforms that I have to play my games on and make my content on. But I feel like there might be some good news around the corner for us. And in the meantime, I'll just continue playing the much better than Pokemon game Temtem, which is incredible. I've put over 120 hours into that, and it feels like it's got 120 more to give and keep me engaged, which is incredible. Very impressive design, that one. But it's very different to what Palworld is, because there's no guns in Temtem.
Yes, Palworld is it is an Arc clone with Pokemon thrown around the universe. It is in early access, so you may want to be aware of some bugs and glitches. I did get a chance to try it out on my PC. However, unfortunately, the game did crash several times. It even corrupted my save, and I was unable to get any of it back. And that's when I realized I'm not going to have fun in early access. So like yourself, I'll most likely wait for a release on an official release when the game's more complete, so I'm not at risk at losing my work, because in a game like this, there's a lot of grinding, and it's just heartbreaking to come back, load it up one day, and it all be gone. And that's just, you're victim of signing up for early access. However,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's hit a
yeah,
craze.
it's
It's hit a
for
vein. Gamers love it. People are
yeah.
flocking their PCs to turn it on and try it out. So I
Sanchez
wish
in
them the
chat, for
best.
example, is currently playing whilst we're talking.
Yeah. Hey, enjoy it up, man. There is a lot of fun to be had if you love the Pokemon world. It's really sort of something that I think a lot of people wanted. And the survival
Yeah,
aspect is fun to do. Um, especially
I think
with
there's a
co-op.
lot going for it.
Yeah.
Like you say, there's the co-op. If you do run the Steam version is a lot more advanced and a lot more stable than the current Game Pass version, even after the Game Pass version has received updates. So if you are jumping into it, I'd probably recommend the Steam version if you have access to it in any way, shape, or form. And it looks amazing. The big news, the great news for me within this first week of success, because it hasn't even been out 7 days yet, is that they've already engaged with Shuhei Yoshida, who is an ex-CEO of
Yes.
PlayStation,
Thank you
now
for bringing it
outlines
back
the
to the story.
indies. Yeah, he overlooks like the indies and the small development side of things. He's one of the guys who was instrumental in bringing Temtem from PC to PlayStation 5 whilst it was still in early access, and I was so incredibly grateful for that. I feel he's going to be instrumental in bringing Palworld to PlayStation. He was asked by somebody on, I think it was on Twitter, that they asked him. They He was asked if they'll be looking to bring Palworld to PlayStation, and he gave a three-letter, one-word reply, which was yes. So, that they're looking to bring it. I know the developers really want to bring it to other platforms as well. Obviously, that's going to involve a lot of money, I suppose, and they are a smaller company. This is their first release. They've not done anything prior to Palworld. And it's working really well. If it works as well as it's working on Steam when it comes to PlayStation, even if it works as well as it's working on Xbox when it comes to PlayStation, and that sort of early access, you're going to get a few crashes, but you get it for cheaper because you're getting in at that point. I think it'll do great numbers on PlayStation as well, even after the fact if we have to wait 12 months or something for it to come over. PlayStation, get in there, give them whatever development tools and help that they may need, and let's get another banging game over on this console as well.
I see chat. Palworld was supposed to come to Stadia. As much of that is a joke, Palworld is essentially what we were going to get with Sky Climbers. Sky Climbers was supposed to release at the end of 2023. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Sky Climbers was a world building game, base building with lots of animals that evolved all throughout the world. So it's just whoever gets to the punch first sometimes. This is great news for PlayStation. Sending that yes, it really, I'm sure, excited a lot of people. And I think This is the main point I want to bring up. If it comes to PlayStation, it's not going to be in the state that I was playing in it. It's not going to crash multiple times. It's not going to corrupt my save. Hopefully, when they bring it to PlayStation over there, it'll be that more stable because if anything, more time will have passed in the game. So it'll be a proven point. But I look forward to it coming over there and haptic feedback. Gotta love it.
Again, I'll refer back to Temtem when that came over to PlayStation. Whilst it was still in early access, I purchased it and started playing it during early access, and it had full crossplay, which it didn't have at launch, which was great. So I could play with Wibble, who'd been playing on PC, which was absolutely amazing. I can now still play with people on Switch, on Xbox, and if I want to jump over onto one of those other platforms as well, it's got cross save. So when that came to PlayStation, it was already a more advanced game than what launched on PC. Seeing that early access launch on PC, seeing some of the crashes, some of the bugs, some of the unfinished areas and such, I didn't get that exact same experience. I had some unfinished areas, but a lot less than what PC got. So you're 100% right. When this does come across, when Shuhei Yoshida and his team get to work in bringing this over to the PlayStation side of things, we will get a different launch version on this platform than what guys on Xbox have received on their platform, and definitely different to what Steam have received because they've got a fantastically working version of the game right now. So I'm hoping we get more that side of things, but like I say, it's probably 12-ish months away until we get hold of it, and then it'll have
Definitely.
a resurgence when a whole new demographic of people can get hold of the game.
Absolutely. And not to mention, hopefully, it'll leave early access sooner rather than later. Because I look forward to that. But enough catching the Pokemon. PC players are about to get excited for some PlayStation games thanks to a leak from Nixus employee. It could be a big year for the PC and the PlayStation world, and hopefully they won't be in the same state as PC players got Last of Us Part 1. Because, yeah, that was a little scary. However, the leak highlights games like Demon Souls, as well as, why is it slipping? Why am I not remembering the other game? Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of
That was
Tsushima.
the game I was talking about earlier today. As well as Gran Turismo 7, which, okay, would that be the first Gran Turismo 7 to hit Steam? Yeah, that would be
It would
massive
be
because that's a,
it would
a
be the
huge
first Gran
driving
Turismo
sim.
not exclusively on a PlayStation
That
console,
that one
and
blew my mind away.
I can just see for the sim racers that being huge.
Yes.
EA recently shut down a lot of Codemasters, and that included ongoing support for Project Cars, which has been a sim racer's home for many years. It's easily accessible. It's got an incredibly high skill ceiling, Project Cars, and it's got compatibility with a massive range of sim rig racing setups. Gran Turismo is the only thing kind of similar with that ease of access and a massive range of accessibility setups and what have you. So you can go all the way from like a 250-pound wheel and pedals set all the way up to spending like £30,000 on a sim rig setup. It's a touch ridiculous what some of these look like, but saying that, it will bring an even greater community in. It gives those high level players new players to play against, gives some of us level players actual matchmaking low level players to play against. I think it would be good for population in a game like Gran Turismo 7. And as we've said with many things, the first one that we covered about the sort of product strategy of PlayStation moving forward, having these games in multiple places with multiple more gamers able to access them on their preferred platform of choice just means more players, and more players means more revenue for Sony. It means more experiences for us. It means more experiences in other ways and places. It is a good thing all round. And as you have experienced Ghost of Tsushima, man, I want to see that on a 4090. Have got to admit, I want to see that running flawlessly on a top of the range PC, and I want to see PC players lose their minds at some of the amazing story moments in that title.
I absolutely agree. I still think the big one would be Gran Turismo 7. I think the sim community would latch on. I had not heard of Project Car, but had assumed there had to be a similar car simulation setup for PC. So it'll be rivaling that one, and I wonder whose simulator will beat out. I'm sure there'll be a massive reception for Gran Turismo 7 though. Um, yeah, hey, these PlayStation titles are going to do well, I believe, on Steam. So, more sales, that means better for the dev, more resources, more money for better games in the future. I'm all for it. Hey, timed releases
100%.
are not a bad idea. They still bring a lot of excitement for the console, and they still allow the devs to make more money by expanding to more people. So, all the power to the devs there. All right, what do we got coming up next? Sorry, my computer wanted to be slow and
They do that
oh,
on occasion. It's their prerogative.
this is history in the making, is it not? With Bulletstorm VR? When you sent this to me, I was in shock. It is unfortunate to see this is a PlayStation virtual reality 2 story we have for you. And unfortunately, it's not great news. The game has been pulled from the PlayStation Store, and I believe you confirmed with me it's the second game in history.
Yeah, there's very few games that have been pulled from PlayStation Store for this reason. Obviously, those that are like spyware and ransomware and all that sort of stuff, they'll get pulled immediately. They shouldn't even get through certification, but if they do, they get pulled really quickly. The reason Bulletstorm VR has been pulled from the PlayStation Store is it's an unfinished mess, very similar to what Cyberpunk 2077 was. The thing is, this was promised as a virtual reality version of the Bulletstorm game that we got back 2 generations ago, I want to say. And it was not the greatest game in history. It was mindless fun, I thought, when I played it. And mindless fun sometimes, especially in VR, is exactly what you need. Like, don't get me wrong, some of my favorite games are incredibly complex, the likes of Synapse, the likes of Before You Fall. These are like roguelikes in VR that you've got to succeed. You've got to stay in there for ages, get to the end to succeed. Um, but Bulletstorm wasn't like that. It's a story driven first person shooter with off the wall crazy mechanics and cool moments. And immediately when you jump into the game, you miss half of the opening cutscene. You have mechanics that don't work. People were saying they thought their tracking was out on their PSVR 2, and it's not. It's just that the game is really badly designed and it doesn't know what you're doing inside VR or with the sticks on the sense controllers. It's unplayable, is probably the best way to say it. And it's a bit of a shame. It was meant to be a bit of a resurgence for the franchise, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a nail in its coffin because it's been pulled from sale. And it's only the second one in history to be pulled from sale for poor quality, which the only other one was Cyberpunk 2077, which is not a good look.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see it's not great for the VR marketplace, and Bulletstorm was an IP that was going to bring a lot of fun and wackiness into the VR world. So, hey, I hope they're able to come back with a better product. I mean, I guess it's just the cost of making games these days. They just couldn't make the deadlines they needed to.
I
Oh,
mean, I sort of question that a little bit. We've seen with Palworld. Palworld cost 1 billion yen to make, which sounds like a lot of money, but 1 billion yen is £5 million. When you compare that to something like Spider-Man 2, bear in mind they've sold the same amount of copies roughly, Spider-Man 2 and Palworld. Palworld cost £5 million to make. Spider-Man 2 cost £200 million to make. I think this is a corporation issue. They're throwing money at the wrong things in the wrong ways. They need to focus on giving us a complete game at launch or a good early access launch and they need to focus on a good gameplay loop and engrossing stories. And if they do that, they can make cheaper games that sell better. But if they just keep trying to churn out what looks pretty but doesn't work underneath, we're going to keep getting situations like Cyberpunk 2077, like Redfall, like Bulletstorm VR, and that's not a good look for the industry as a whole. It's just wasted money, wasted time, and wasted effort from everyone involved.
Yeah. Um, I I hope that VR is able to pump out better games for the people in the future, and Bulletstorm is not a symptom, it's an outlier, and that pattern doesn't repeat. And that's all we can hope for here.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. All right. I'm 100% organized. No, that see, I had this trailer up and then it disappeared in my thing. So you sent me this. This looks like an instant buy right here. This looks like golf with your friends, but PlayStation version, wacky golf fun. Hey, I'm all for it. It's Golf Guys launch trailer. So this was 4 days ago. They dropped
Yeah,
this on the YouTube. Can you go out and get it now?
you can buy it now. I've already bought it. It's three
Ah,
pound.
sweet.
It's £3 this game, which is probably
Wow.
around $5, and it's just stupid good fun for a fiver. Guys, get on this. Let's get a party going at some point and all play Golf Guys because it looks sufficiently fun and just sufficiently silly, which sometimes is all you need from a game. And again, at £3, at $5, can't sniff at it, can you? It's great.
Nope. Nope. It looks great. It looks hilarious. Reminds me a lot of Golf with Friends, except just more immersive because you see your character and you're actually golfing a bit instead of just clicking a button. So look forward to it. We'll definitely need to check this one out.
100%.
We
And the fact it's got split screen co-op or versus play as well. We need more split screen games. I'm a house with one PlayStation 5 and two PlayStation players. Give us more split screen games, please.
What's going on? ISO Motion Gaming. We got Kelly Drew Voss coming in here, and also Ninja Guy X. I'm sorry, he's changing his name to Golf Guy X.
Golf
What's
Guy
going on?
X. Nice.
Good
I like it.
morning.
Meta.
Hopefully everyone's doing well. So this is a little bit of a dated story now. It was
Yeah.
interesting when you first sent it to me, but now I'm realizing this game did release about 5 days ago. Have you yourself played the no return mode in Last of Us Remastered, or have you picked it up?
I've picked it up. I jumped into my existing New Game Plus save and
Same.
was immediately annoyed because it looked terrible. It's like, why have I just spent £10 to upgrade this? And realized that they've still got motion blur and film grain turned up to 11. It's like these settings ruin how your games look, developers. Don't even include them. Turn them off. They are terrible. If you want them for artistic side of things, put them in photo mode, but they should not exist on the actual game. The moment I turned those off, it looked amazing and then promptly crashed. So I went
Oh
back to
no.
Prince of Persia at that point. So no, right now I haven't played it other than getting in, adjusting those settings. I've got all my trophy pops that have come over from PS4, which is nice, and I just need to get through Prince of Persia and then I'll be on No Return. I am loving roguelikes at the moment. Hades and Returnal sort of kickstarted something in me, that whole idea of try and try and try again and get perfect at your mechanics, at your movements. And then there's Before You Fall and Synapse in PSVR. There was the God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC, which is a roguelike experience. They're all fantastic. They call to me, and I'm looking forward to a Last of Us style one. It's just, you know, no, I'm one person. I need different times of day to actually do these things. Full-time jobs, they get in the way. How dare they?
Oh, Ninja Guy is purchasing a roguelike VR game tomorrow. It's called Undergogs. Interesting
I've
little shout out
heard of
there.
it. I think it's a Meta exclusive, that one. I don't think I can get it on
Ah,
PSVR 2, but most of these things are ending up coming across this way in shorter and shorter time as well. So it'd be very interesting to follow up with him
Underdogs,
after
not
after the
Undergogs.
fact.
That
So
makes more
yeah,
sense.
that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, we'll have to follow up with him, and if he's got like a first look type thing up on his channel at some point, people can go there and check out Ninja Guy X.
Awesome. So the confusion here was people had purchased the full price game, which is The Last of Us Part 2 remaster, and then they were receiving a refund for all their money back, less the $10 upgrade price that they were offering. So if you were confused by that, it's math. You add and then subtract, and that's what Sony did. So that
And they didn't
is
have
the
to.
story.
Let's just put this out there. I know this is a corporation trying to look good, and we shouldn't really celebrate these things, but they didn't have to do this. You've gone on there, they've put all of this information out in the world. It's even on the product page that the upgrade will be available on launch day. So people who've then gone and bought this, they've seen all of the information that they need to see, and they've chosen to ignore it or overlook it. It's been put in front of them. They didn't need to make these refunds, but what they've done is anybody who owns the PlayStation 4 version, disc or digital, so that's also big as well. They
Big
knew who's
shout.
played it,
Big shout to that.
and they've refunded people without asking, without question, without problem. And it it's a win. It's a win for the consumer, and that's what we need more of. We need more wins for the consumer. We need less companies taking advantage of them. And I think this was just a good news piece for Sony. They do that. They're not going to get called out by a bunch of customers and such, but it then creates a good news piece. So, customers are better off. Let's not argue with it. Let's not call it out for anything other than the positivity that it is.
Absolutely. So check it out. If you have Last of Us Part 2, I will say I have played No Return. I thought it to be very enjoyable. I liked the action. It got my heart pumping again as, these visceral death blows. And they've even added new animations. I swear, I never attacked somebody who had a weapon and then took their weapon and then killed them with it. Like
Oh,
I
you've been
swear
playing it wrong, bro. You've been
that
playing it
was a
wrong. That's been
new
there since day
animation.
one.
Was it? I swear
Yeah.
I played the whole game and that animation was not there. Well,
There's multiple ways to play these games. That's the thing. Like,
yeah.
my preferred way is stealth. So I don't like being seen in these sort of games. I love
Yeah,
stealth
well, I
gameplay, as you've
can't
probably
help it
gathered
all
from
the
the type
time.
of games I love. But I did a second run through of just charge. Like, that was my entire idea. And I just ran at people. They got their guns, they were reloading. I just ran at them, got a big stick, take them down. Oh, yeah, that stick broke. I'll take your stick and beat you with it. Like, there's so many different ways to play it. You've got low flying switchblade attacks that you can do, like literally jumping off things, taking people out with a switchblade, swapping to a gun to take them out there. There are so many different and cool ways to play the Last of Us titles. You just need to choose a different way to play, go against your natural usual progression route, and it opens up so many cool animations, moments, clips. They're fantastic games, they really are, and I am looking forward to getting into the
Aw,
No
thank
Return
you for
roguelike.
subscribing, House of L. We do appreciate it. And if you want to
Bum, ba,
support both
ba,
the
ba, ba, ba,
creators here on
bum.
stage, our links
Bum, ba,
should be in the
ba,
chat
ba, ba,
below.
ba, bum.
Feel free
Sorry, I was just
to.
doing the Superman theme for House of L.
Oh, I'm like, it sounds familiar, right? The House of L. And I'm like, what? Superman, exactly. And I'm
That's
like,
what Rocksteady
art?
should have been doing, making a Superman game, not this Suicide Squad one.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for subscribing. We do appreciate it. And if you want to support both the creators, of course, I'm going in and changing the description right now. So
As
just
we speak.
reload the page. That's right. I was like, I did all the show notes, and then I'm like, oh, right, the thing on YouTube. Anyways, let's get to Helldivers 2. This is the one I was absolutely thrilled and excited to hear and see. This scope of this game is more than I ever thought it was. This is a live game, a universe that is suspended in time, and the entire universe is controlled by the developers who are ongoing and watching. The war is live. It is happening at all times, and that is the multiplayer. You jump into this war and you contribute towards the global efforts to defend the universe. At any point in time, the devs can jump in, manipulate the surroundings. You can jump in with your friends at any place in the universe, in the war, and it is live all the time. So it is just beyond cool to see. I've never heard of a scope like this before in video game multiplayer co-op. Essentially, it's not PvP anymore. It's PvD. We are fighting the developers. We are on our side and we are taking them on and going against their best efforts. See this guy talking right here with the curly hair? He is anti curly hair and we are pro curly hair. So enter the contest below so I can get somebody else to come in with me because we'll be squatting up day one, taking on these devs and bringing them down. Dorgon, do you have any thoughts? I know you were excited to hear about the scope when I was explaining it. They just dropped this trailer yesterday. What are some initial impressions?
Helldivers 2 has been one of those. For me, it was going to be a bargain bin pickup. And some point after the fact, I'll pick it up because I really enjoyed Helldivers. I really enjoyed the first one, but it was the sort of fun that you'll pick up for 20 quid and have a great time for £20, but at a full price, it's not worth it. I thought this was going very much the same way. It looked very much in the vein of Helldivers, but this has changed my outlook on it. I don't know whether I'll be able to afford a day one pickup with it, but I want to now. Like this whole concept, the size, the scale, the way that we're interacting with these worlds, with this universe is amazing. And there's something I don't think I've seen before. I think the closest is probably like Warframe in terms of scale and being able to jump in. But again, that has enclosed events, enclosed instances that can only have so many people in it. So to have the whole player base working together to fight this war against these creatures, that's incredible. That's like No Man's Sky level of incredible scale, and I hope they pull it
Uh-oh,
off, and it's
Dorgon.
as good as we sound.
Don't you curse my game. All right. We are not having a No Man's Sky release on Helldivers 2, all right? It'll release just fine. Don't curse my game.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. That's what it reminds me of, the scale of it,
Yeah,
like what they're saying right
absolutely.
now. And I hope it works as well as No Man's Sky works now, and not as well as No Man's Sky worked when it launched.
Yes, thank you. Hey, I'm looking forward to it. I want to squad up. I want to take down these developers. I think this is a challenge unlike any game has put forth before the community. They're calling us out and saying, "You think you're a gamer? Well, take us on directly and we'll control the rules." It's the ultimate odds are against you, and I want to take them down with the odds against me. So I'll be jumping into Helldivers and taking out this guy on screen right here. He's going down. Same with the other curly hair dude. Oh, I can't wait for it.
Love it. Love it.
Oh, the scope. I mean, the game just gets better and better, and it's not even a full price game. It's half price, and just to see something like that is pretty cool. Now this story I brought up because I'm like, I have a sneaking suspicion Dorgon is gonna know something about the evolution of Tekken and PlayStation. I'm not the biggest fighting player myself, but I had an inkling that you would be able to talk
I mean, I
on the
could boil it down
evolution.
into really simple terms. There are more pixels in a character's eye now than there were in entire characters in the first one. That's a great evolution. Um,
Wow. I mean, some of these character models, I can remember playing back on the early PlayStation on those pirated versions in the actual PlayStation. Like, I believe I played maybe some of Tekken 2 or Tekken 1 on the early days. Like, this tiger guy, he seems familiar to my
King.
childhood. Yeah, he looks
King has been
ridiculous,
in
right?
pretty much every game. A wrestler turned King of the Iron Fist, and yeah, it's Tekken has always been one of those. The early PlayStation days, the story of Tekken didn't make much sense because it was told through silent cutscenes, and there was no like subtitles or anything or words of any description within the game anywhere. So trying to figure out what the story was, what had happened, it was a little bit difficult, especially for people like us who were quite a lot younger, maybe weren't used to video games, weren't used to how to discern lore from these things and what have you. But Tekken 3 was a bit of a moment for everybody that I knew, anyhow. And it introduced a lot of the characters that we all love. Wibblesniff and I have been talking about it behind the scenes as well, and he was saying, "Oh, they best have Hwarang in there. I'm very glad they've got Eddie Gordo back. They should have Paul and all this sort of stuff." And then he's like, "Holy crap, they all came out in Tekken 3," and he's right, they did. But after that point, Tekken's had a really strong story in 4, in 5, in Dark Resurrection, 6, 7, and now 8. The story has been absolutely incredible. A little bit off the wall, but absolutely incredible. And Tekken 8 is now here, and it seems to be one of the most accessible fighting games on the market at the moment, even more so than Street Fighter 6 was last year, which, from all of these previews, is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've enjoyed the Tekken games because they are not the super sweats that you get in Mortal Kombat or the super sweats that you get in previous Street Fighters. That they've always been that little bit more accessible to me. I prefer the character models, the way of fighting and interacting, and the unlocks within the game. So yeah, it's evolved a lot over time, and like I say, that there are more pixels in like a follicle of hair on Paul's head now than there was in the entirety of Paul back in Tekken 3. So there's a lot that's changed. The mechanics are better. This thing's going to be running at a buttery smooth 6120 frames, depending on your screen and what have you. And I'm looking forward to it. Again, it's one of those. I don't think I'm going to be able to afford to pick it up on day one just because of how expensive games are and how many are all coming out what feels like simultaneously, but it's definitely a pickup for me further down the line.
I played the demo. It did feel accessible. I didn't realize it was more on the accessible of the other games, but I could see it now playing. There is a smoothness to it that feels good, feels fluid. Hey, if you're gonna pick up a fighting game, this one would probably be my pick out of the Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, or Tekken series. Uh, it has that look, that feel, that style that I probably would be more geared towards.
Yeah,
But
I think
check it
everybody's
out.
got the different
It
love. Depends what you grew up
it
with, doesn't it? But
releases in 2 days, so I know a lot of people are going to
2 days.
be pumped for that one.
Well, we're losing Miss
Pumped.
Phoenix in 2 days, then, aren't we? Her partner's going to steal her
Oh
PlayStation.
yes, she's going to be a what do they call it? What did she call
Tekken
herself? A
Widow.
Tekken
Yeah.
widow. Something else coming out in 2 days, which received amazing reviews, is Ishin. No, what am I saying? Dragon Infinite Wealth. What is it called? Yakuza.
Like a
It's the
Dragon
Yakuza
Ishin,
game.
Internet Wealth. Yeah.
Ashin. That's what I was thinking. It's a Yakuza
That's,
game. Uh, I wanted to blink down here. So a lot of pros they highlighted in the review. You can check it out at Push Square. Gripping and very entertaining story, improved turn-based combat, exceptional side content. Hawaii is a fantastic new location, and if you haven't been to Hawaii, it is a great place to hang out. Many great new characters and the best looking game in this series, plus lots of emotional moments for fans. 9 out of 10. So Sega really pumped a lot into this game to get this kind of score.
Yeah, it looks amazing. It's not my personal sort of game. These ones and the Persona games, I personally don't get the appeal of living a full digital life, going to work, doing your groceries, and all that sort of stuff. I do that in the real world. I go to video games to escape from that sort of thing. But I know there are a lot of people who really, really enjoy these games. And it looks amazing. It looks absolutely stunning. It looks like a standard Yakuza off the wall weirdness, which is great. It's what it should be. It shouldn't be overly serious. It should be a little wacky. And it's getting rave reviews, as you say, across the board. People are very excited about this game. Good on Sega for continually pumping out the quality. I don't know how they do it. Like they turn out like 2 of these a year, and I don't understand how.
That's crazy. I have yet to play them as well. I think I played a little bit of maybe Yakuza 0 and it felt arcadey. The combat did feel good. I wouldn't be opposed to trying it again. It's different than my style of game that I typically play, but there was nothing that turned me off of it directly. Um,
Fair play. Fair
yeah.
play.
We have Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remastered PS4 and PS5 details and new key art revealed. So everybody who is a fan of Miss Laura will get more excited about these remasters. You had sent
They
this
have
to
both.
me. You, did you get these remasters? Are you planning to pick them up?
I have pre-ordered these remasters because they come at like a 25% discount through Plus if you pre-order, which is nice. And I love these 3 games. I played them on the original PlayStation 1. I played 2 a lot on PC actually, and I absolutely adore them. This is what Lara Croft is. This is how she became this household name, even beyond video games, in a time where the internet wasn't a thing. She was on Lucasade commercials. She was on the front of FHM and other amazing magazines that had bugger all to do with video games. She was a British icon the size of James Bond. Like this is she was like 8 pixels big and she was an icon the size of Bond. This is how important she was back in the 90s. And her franchise has been a little bit mishandled in more recent times. Shadow of the Tomb Raider really undermined all the great work they'd done with Tomb Raider 2013 and Rise of the Tomb Raider, and it had annoyed a lot of the fans, let alone other non-fan players. But there's a lot of updates that they've done for this. So as you're showing on screen, just assets that were 2D in the original releases, making them 3D, making the character model a bit smoother, improving the lighting. But they're also giving us more modern controls, which might
Yeah.
take some getting used to for some of us who play these games on the semi-regular, but it's also a really good thing for those who are maybe coming in to experience these games for the first time. They look really good enough to actually be good games if they were released today. I like the way they've done this remaster. They've touched it up to make it look modern, but it still feels like the classic games that you know of old. They've increased the resolutions, they've increased the artifacts textures and such, replaced things with 3D models, sped up menus and such no end. These games should feel completely modern and fluid. They come with full trophy support as well. So each game has a platinum trophy for doing weird, wacky, wonderful, and amazing things in each title. I cannot wait to try and go after those. And each game's got an amazing photo mode. So you're going to get lost in the photo mode. I'm going to go searching for the platinums, and my other half is going to just pick them up and absolutely destroy any records I set because she is a Tomb Raider god. So yeah, Lara's original trilogy coming back is fantastic. I really like the updates they've made and what they're talking about. This to me is how remasters, re-releases, and updates should be done, especially for things held in such high regard. And to have Lara back as Lara, brilliant. Yeah, just I'm hyped for these games, and they come out on my birthday, so that's even better.
Oh, nice. Right around my birthday then. We
Yeah, day
celebrate
before your
right
birthday.
around the
Yeah.
same time. So cool to see. Uh, look forward to it. Although I'll probably be deep into Helldivers taking on those devs. PVD. That's what I'm calling it now. Cool to see. I put this image up on screen because this is really the strength of the remaster. I mean, playing this game again will obviously be so much more of an enriching experience when the visuals actually look like what they are supposed to look like. I mean, look at the gun, the detail there. The statue is such a standout. Even the flooring and the roof and the ceiling, like it's big
Yeah.
improvements, so it'll be a different experience going through. But that is the PlayStation news I have for the week. Doragon mentioned photo mode, so I wanted to just take a minute here to show off my latest photo mode works, and it's PlayStation related, so it's all on PlayStation. So,
It's all fine. Yeah.
we're going to sit back, we're going to watch this for about a minute, and then we're going to jump into the draw and we're going to say goodbye. So, thanks everyone for hanging out, but check out my works of art and feel free to drop some comments in because I'm always hungry for some comments. So, let's see what I've been up to with my newest hobby. That's the wrong button. There's it goes.
I'm assuming it's going to be up there somewhere. Those who are waiting for the draw, if you haven't already entered, !PlayStation in the chat will get you entered into a draw to win Helldivers 2.
Thank you.
Get your name in there.
We'll get Ray in there. As we're just checking out some of my photos. Oh, look at that one of Melania. That was one of my favorites. Little fantastic, or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then Ghost of Tsushima with that sword glint, and then Last of Us Remaster. And then I saved one of my favorites for last.
These are epic, mate. These are great.
All right, now enough of my bragging about my stuff, showing all you guys my pictures. Let's roll these dice. Of course, if anyone... I got $5 on the devs, Rue. Oh my goodness. So you're betting on the devs, Sanchez. I'm just making sure I haven't missed anybody.
Mate, they're gonna have an auto kill button. You know that. Nope. I'm putting money on the devs.
Listen, the odds may be against me, but I'm taking them down. I made it, Miss Phoenix!
One button, kill everybody. Like, you can't beat that button.
Oh, I'll just team up with some PC people. We'll get the hacks in. I'll get in their little hack bubble somehow. You know, it'll work. It'll work. Let's spin it. Who's going to win it today? And we have... Callie Drew Vaus. Congratulations. Thanks for entering.
For those new, this isn't a winner of the actual game, this one. Every stream that Rudigs does between now and the release of Helldivers will give you a chance to be entered into the final. You can enter as many times as you like, you can win as many times as you like, and you will get added onto another wheel that will go into the final draw. Is the final draw the day before or the day of release that you'll be picking that one up?
We will be doing the final draw here on Super PlayStation Bros February 7th. Be sure to tune in as we do this Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. British Standard Time?
3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time currently. Winter
Greenwich
time.
Mean Time, yeah. I always get those mixed up because... My bad.
It's fine. It's fine. It becomes British summertime in March at some point. So I don't know when. I just let my watch sort itself out. But yeah, every stream on Cloud and Console, every stream on Rudigs, you can get your name entered into that final. You just need to win the spin on that day. So make sure you subscribe to Ru everywhere. Get your name in the hat and get a chance to win a game and maybe play with him. Because it sounds like he's needing people to play with him.
We're taking on the devs, and I'm bringing one of you with me. All right, we appreciate all of you coming out today. Doragon, what have you got going on your channel? Let people know what's going on. I know you got some videos out there, and your link is in the description.
I do. So link down below. A sub and viewership of any video would be great. There's 2 from this month that are up currently. One is about staying fit via gaming, some video games, some tabletop games, some mobile games as well. So, all sorts of options for any sort of hardware are on there. There's also a new video that's gone up recently, seeing if Assassin's Creed Mirage is worth the money if you pick it up from the bargain bin. So way less than full price. So head over there, give that one a view for me, and let me know your thoughts as well, especially if you have played the game. That would be useful to get feedback that way. Rue, everybody's going to want to enter this competition for you, with you. Where and when can they find you, and on what channels?
Yeah, absolutely. I will be gaming tonight with the family on family game night. So 10 p.m. tonight, a little bit later for the Greenwich Standard Time, but I will be
Yeah, it's like
back
3
on
a.m. here.
Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. We will be talking on a roundtable panel about everything gaming this week. That's right. We'll probably be going over Palworld, and some more exciting developments that we'll be seeing this week. So be sure to tune in to Cloud and Console and a bunch of other awesome content creators discussing the news. Aside from that, check out the Rudix channel, check out Rudix Social, YouTube, Threads, and Twitter, and you'll find where I'm at. And until next week at the same time, you'll find Super PlayStation Bros, the podcast, VODs on the playlist on Cloud and Console. Take care and be safe out there.
Take care, guys. Bye.
All right, roll those credits.
To believe in me. Why try? Do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind so easily spooked. I ride just to be the me. Oh, finds hype super decently smooth. Nice type, but as sick as me.